one thing. Blaming anybody except the nut job for what happened in Pittsburgh is crazy. Police officers over the weekend were killed by a crazy man with a gun. And blaming anybody else besides him is like blaming a flight attendant after a terrorist takes down a plane. In other words, giving passengers a nice little safety talk to prepare them for a worst-case scenario doesn't mean you're responsible should a terrorist actually make that worst-case scenario happen. One person is providing important information, and the other is a nut job who would have acted that way no matter what. Before any facts came out on the Pittsburgh shooting, the left, I mean like this, the blogs started burning up. The Daily Kos, Media Matters, and The Atlantic decided this maniac was worried that President Obama was going to take away his guns. Therefore, conservative talk shows were to blame. I mean, what else could it be? You know, bloggers rushed to paint this killer as a conservative, presumably one who is clinging to his God and his guns. But the truth is, this guy in Pittsburgh was about as much of a conservative as Stalin was cuddly. He's a neo-Nazi, for the love of Pete, a white supremacist, and more importantly, he's a premeditated killer. Allegedly, of course. That's why I'm not even going to waste any time addressing the people who lump everybody who question Obama's policies into the same hate group. Let me talk to some rational people, like, oh, I don't know, you instead. Civil unrest, for a number of reasons, is coming. Lone nut jobs and people who are just angry and frustrated and have had enough. You've got to seek those people out. You've got to start asking people in your own neighborhood, how are you? And actually care about the answer. Help your neighbors when you can. Report them if you must. If you got a nut job, hello, I think I'm living next to a nut job. Help. People who think that radio or people that espouse their opinions that are taken out of context, that those are the people that are trying to start a revolution, are just as crazy. Let me explain. There are three types of revolutions. The American Revolution, which we don't seem to study anymore in school, basically it was 13 years of anarchy after we won. Then there was the French kind, which ended, if I'm not mistaken, in heads being separated from bodies. Not really a good thing, you know, the whole river of blood. And then there's the civil kind, a kind of revolution that gets results by using weapons of democracy, like civil disobedience, the kind practiced by Martin Luther King and Gandhi. That is the type of revolution that fed-up Americans should be embracing. But understand that nut jobs, oh, they never will. No matter how much you say, no matter what you say. No, they're just going to put a gun outside a window because they're just looking to kill. Left-wing bloggers seem to want to blame everybody for a crime except the actual criminal. But I'm used to that now. That's because they don't understand our Constitution is a lot more than just the Bill of Rights. There's also an implied Bill of Responsibility. Yeah. See, you have the right to free speech. And yes, you don't have the right to, you know, stand up in a fire and say, oh, you're in a theater and say, fire, unless you actually see a fire or smoke. Then you have a responsibility to do that. You have the right to bear arms, but you have the responsibility not to use those arms to take away the rights of, like, life from others. Responsible gun owners are no more of a threat than somebody who is responsibly exercising their right to freedom of religion. Ooh, no, internet, the left isn't going to understand that one. I mean, sure, religion can be used to justify horrific acts, but it's still the criminal or the terrorist who is responsible for them. You know, well, wait a minute, the left will understand that because that's what they've been telling us about Islam this whole time. And you know what? They're right. Let me be as clear as I possibly can. Shooting anybody, shooting cops, just making a shooting gallery out of your street, that doesn't prove any kind of point, and this nut job wasn't trying to make a point. Doesn't make you a patriot, doesn't make you a defender of the Republic. It makes you a crazy man. It makes you a traitor and an enemy of the Republic. Our forefathers fought a bloody, violent war so that we would be able to put down our muskets and bayonets for a little while, you know, and pick up weapons with far more power. Weapons like free and fair elections, term limits. Oh yeah, try that one on. And yes, civil disobedience. Maybe it's time in this country we start using those.